I hope this message finds you really well. I feel like I've spent most of my adult life trying not to be polarizing. Not consciously. It's not like I sit around thinking, how can I be really lukewarm and mundane and have everybody, appreciate what I'm saying or like me. And there's a subtle undercurrent. And maybe you can relate to that as well, like a subtle undercurrent when I get really honest with myself, a place inside that up until now has been so uncomfortable with the idea of people projecting onto me. That could be because in human design, I'm literally a projector, and as projectors, if you know about the system of human design, people do project onto us. But I think it goes deeper than that. I think it goes deeper into not fully claiming, appreciating, and living as myself. And ironically, I believe that all that the universe wants from us is to be ourselves. That's the most important thing. And in being our full self and expressing that, that's the way that we fulfill our dharma or our purpose in this planet. But that can't happen if we're not in touch with our true nature, our true essence. And it gets distorted so early on in our life, our true nature, out of trying to belong, be accepted, garner love from parents or teachers or peers or people in our community. So right out of the gate as a youngster, we are adapting and we devise these strategies, and it's a form of intelligence. It's a form of intelligence of our being to say, oh my goodness, I'm a little person in this world, and my world is actually very small. All I know is, my parents or my siblings or my kindergarten class, whatever it might be. And so we will do whatever it takes as youngsters to strategize a way to belong and be accepted. And these strategies, I call them, are not right or wrong, good or bad, but they do take us out of our center line. And so our energy becomes distorted. We create personalities and character from these distortions. Again, not bad or wrong, but just not the full expression of honesty. And so when we get to being an adult, which I guess I consider myself an adult at this point in my journey, then when I go into a strategy, into a distorted form of expression, a distorted form of how the prana, how the energy flows through my system, then I am no longer in connection with myself, my true self, or with the universe that wants to support me fully and wholly and does ultimately support me. However, it's going to feel, I'm not going to say better, because it doesn't always feel better when we're remembering who we are, and when we're dissolving conditioning or shedding the conditioned beliefs, behaviors, responses. It can in fact feel so incredibly uncomfortable and painful even when we have these ego deaths. And we will constantly have ego deaths. In fact, I hope that you and that I continue to have ego deaths throughout our life, because I don't want to be the same person that I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Yes, the essence remains. I don't even want to be who I was yesterday. Not that yesterday was a bad day, or I was a bad person in my version of myself yesterday, but evolution calls forth the possibility of transformation. And so for me to change and evolve means I don't have to be an outdated version of myself. I get to tune in and be super conscious with, who am I being? Who am I being now? And who do I want to be being? Am I being the being that I want to be being? And it might sound ridiculous, because you might think, well, of course. But so often, and the work that I do with the incredible humans I get to coach and mentor, is there's so many subtle patterns that block our truth, that block our ease. And what happens is we get sick. We get sick mentally, we get sick physically, energetically, psychologically. We create dis-ease because there is a dis-ease, and that dis-ease highlights the disconnect, the disconnection from source ultimately. So I've been thinking a lot lately about our sacred yes and our sacred no. And if we're not in touch with the truth of who we are, it will be impossible to be in touch with our sacred yes and our sacred no. Meaning that we will distort ourselves, we will please, we will go into poor me or self-sabotage or martyrdom or victimhood. We will go into all of these energetic tendencies instead of standing in the truth of who we are, because that feels so threatening to the ego. It takes us back to being that youngster who feels like, if I say no when everyone wants me to say yes, or I say yes when everyone wants me to say no, or I don't do the thing, or I don't perform the way that I'm supposed to, or I don't be seen in this light, or I say the thing that upset this parent or upset this teacher or this friend, we continue to cajole our way through life and essentially hijack our own very happiness because we don't even know who we are, without the need to belong, be accepted, feel that sense of security outside of ourselves. And then we cannot decide, we cannot know, we cannot listen to or even hear the whisper of the sacred yes or the sacred no. So my question to you is, where in your life have you not been listening, that you have an inkling, you have a knowing, because you are conscious and aware, you have a knowing that something has been trying to get your attention and you have not been heeding the call? Is it in your career? Is it in your relationships? Is it with a family member? Is it in the way that you take care of yourself or ignore yourself or abandon your own self when it comes to your quality of your inner narrative? So this is such an important question to ask ourselves and inquire around, where we are not really being honest with ourselves, where we are so disconnected from our sacred yes and our sacred no, and in that disconnection where we have ultimately abandoned ourselves. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I'm wishing you so much love. And if you're wanting to dive deeper into this inquiry and looking at how we can be our true selves through the art, I'm going to call it the art of non-conformity, through recognizing the shadow and not having to avoid it, actually turn towards it, look at it straight in the eye and use it as an ally. All of this is work that we're going to be doing inside of my upcoming immersion called Rock the Boat. And this is happening in 3 parts. All the replays will be provided if you can't make it live. I would love for you to join. If you have any questions, let me know. And we start soon. So check it out. And I look forward to rocking the boat with you and really coming back into tune with your true nature and your sacred yes and your sacred no. So much love. Talk to you soon.